we are continuing our study of the Acts of the Apostles, and today we begin at the first verse of the 28th chapter, where we read this. Once safely on shore, we found out that the island was called Malta. The islanders showed us unusual kindness. They built a fire and welcomed us all because it was raining and cold. Maybe it's just me. It probably is just me, because y'all are better than I am. You really are. And I know, no, I'm not, Pastor. He's like, yes, you are. You don't know me. But have you ever landed somewhere that you never expected to be? However, it could be relationally, could be job, could be any number of things. You find yourself where you didn't plan to be. And I'm like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz after experiencing the tornado. Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Paul could have said something similar to that. It's like, hey, y'all, doesn't look like we're in Caesarea or Jerusalem, or we're definitely not in Rome. But that's where Paul exactly finds himself in this 28th chapter. Where's that? Well, Malta, to be specific. But he's not where he intended to be. And it's a step along the way where God said, you will be. You're going to preach in Rome. So after surviving the storm and shipwreck, all 276 of them wash up on the island of Malta. And again, to the undisciplined, untrained, or just wooden interpretation of the text, it looks like just an accident. It's like, wow, God meant this, but it didn't. That speaks to our short-sightedness when we look at the arc that is our life in Him. The shipwreck landed Paul and all of the folks that were on the boat on a beach to a place they had never intended. So once on shore, the islanders showed unusual kindness, and God used them to extend incredible grace. Just pause here just for a second. I have found, again, you guys are better than me. I have found that some of the greatest grace, or the mostest grace, or the most love that has been shown on me didn't always come from my family, didn't always come from folks that confess Christ, but came from folk that I really didn't expect that they were going to meet me in the way that they did. Again, maybe it's just me. I had the occasion, after the death of my daughter, one of our daughters, to coincide with someone I was in relationship just casually, related to the COVID vaccination clinic. And again, I'm not unique. Sister Jones, Margaret, myself, we have all been a part of that fraternity of the loss of a child. Come to find out, he and his wife lost a child unexpectedly, and were yet decades later grieving and dealing with that. What's your point, Pastor Meeks? My point is, you never know who God is going to bring along your path to minister to you in a way you didn't expect. And if we don't not only not see it for what it is, but if we don't put ourselves in those positions to receive that, then we'll miss our blessing. Not only our blessing, but the blessing of the person that may or may not have the faith we do, but is ministering to us like a raven to Elijah in a way that we couldn't minister to ourselves. See, we can become we can be too religious in what we think and how we believe God is going to minister to us. Well, he's going to come this certain way. You don't know. You're not God. You didn't see the shipwreck, and you don't even know how the rescue is going to take place. So what makes you think, oh, they don't know anything. They're not even a believer. These guys showed unusual kindness, and they built a fire, and they welcomed it. Why? Because it was raining and cold. Just the God-given humanity in them allowed them to see their suffering and to minister to you, to them, to us. I guess my point is, God, just know this for a fact. Just know this for a fact. God is guiding our steps, even through the storms and the shipwrecks of life. We again, oh man, is the song in tones. If I never had any problems, I never would know that God could solve them. And we sing it, and we, at some level, we understand it, but we really don't understand it until we're in that space. Until we're in that space. And it's not to presuppose how God is going to do X, Y, and Z, be it Hezekiah, Jehoshaphat, or whoever. I'll put my fleece out there. I'm going to ask, God, this is what I would like. I have no problem, and it's very biblical to do that. This is what I want. But ultimately, Father, I know you're going to work it out to your glory and honor. You're going to work it out because I'm going to put myself in that space to be used by you. That's easier said than done, because that sets aside our will, our desires, our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations. How does that align with God? Did we ask? Typically, no, we typically don't. So again, ask the question. Just ask the question to yourself. Where has God brought you through storms to an unexpected place, and it turned out to be a blessing? One theologian put it this way, shipwrecks can become platforms. Shipwrecks can become platforms. Shipwrecks can become platforms. You know, the destruction of the ship splintered all the wood, and if we got half a brain, we can use the debris, the wood from the shipwreck to erect a platform to proclaim the goodness of God. But I often, again, you're better than I am, but I often look at that and stand on the beach and look at the broken wood, and it's like, man, this stinks. Man, shipwreck. No, man, don't know what I'm going to do. What I could do is build a platform and use that to proclaim the goodness of God in spite of what looks like the obvious. Verse 3, Paul gathered a pile of brushwood, and as he put it on the fire, a viper driven out of the heat fastened itself on his hand. And when the islanders saw the snake hanging from his hand, they said to each other, "This man must be a murderer, for though he escaped from the sea, the goddess Justice has not allowed him to live." But Paul shook the snake off in the fire and suffered no ill effects. The people expected him to swell up or suddenly fall dead. But after waiting a long time and seeing nothing unusual happen to him, they changed their minds and said he was a god. Isn't that like the world? Anyway, Paul's gathering sticks. You see the text. He's bitten by a viper. Folks expect him to die, but instead of dying, he shakes it off, and God preserves him. Remember, God said, "You will preach for me in Rome." So Paul is like, "Get off of me." It's like, go on about yourself. I I just say this in passing. There was a cult that was into taking wrong-headed wooden interpretation of text, and they were going around passing around snakes and saying, well, if you're of God and you get bit by a snake, you're not going to die. Well, the guy died. I'm just saying. So don't take this and run with it and say, well, he's going to protect me from snake bites. Don't get me wrong. Now, some snake bites will result in death. But things that would otherwise take you or me out cannot have its way on us until God says, yeah, that's the way. But look at the crowd. Again, they go from saying, man, you must be a murderer. Look at you. Because that situation wouldn't have happened on you unless, kind of like the disciples said of Jesus about the guy that they happened upon who was blind. Who sinned? Who sinned? Was it him or his folks? Because there has to be a reason for this blindness. There has to be a reason for this snake bite. Yeah, it is. There's a reason, but not the one you think. Oh, you're a murderer. You didn't die? You're a god. Oh, man, that's like the world. And if it's not like the world, it's like us. Okay, we go through, God, help me. Just help me. God, we go through stuff, and it's like, oh, man, woe is me. God, this is horrible. This is that. And then it didn't happen. Man, I must have been in God's will. Boy, I was praising him. Yeah, I turned around 3 times and named, framed, and claimed something. And see, he cooked up the bacon for me. Again, I'm not suggesting you put your hand in the snake pit, because you just might die. Because you live a life, I don't care what you confess. If you live outside of God's will, you're going to die. I'm trying to help somebody. It's like we cannot just take blessings that we see throughout Scripture and say, well, that's mine too. Did God say that's yours? Is that yours, or you just misappropriating? God is not concerned about what the world thinks, and he ain't too much concerned about what I think either. But it's like, no, this is what is going to happen. Paul, young man, old man, you're going to preach in Rome. You're going to, I believe this is his 3rd shipwreck now. This is not new. It's just like shipwrecks are us. He's gone through a lot, but the messenger of God told him, you're going to be a witness for me in Rome. We don't know all the things that God has in store for us, I believe, in part because we don't, I'm sinful Mark, is that we talk more than we listen when we turn our face towards God. How can we know what God is saying to us if we're just delivering the laundry list of things we want him to cook up for us? Again, room service. I'm ringing up room service. Can I get that hamburger, medium, please? Hold the lettuce. Tomatoes are okay. The little mayo and mustard, and you got that, God? You got that? Okay. Can I get that in 15 minutes? Fries hot, please? I hear what you say. God, you see me. You see I'm hungry. My mouth is watering for a hamburger right now. I really could go for a hamburger. But however you see fit to bless me, that's going to be fine. Be it a hamburger, or if you sustain me through the fast that you will take me through. I'm not presupposing. I'm past that. Don't get me wrong. I have a petition. I have petitions before God that include you. That include City Church. God, grow them up in the way you would have them be. Let them enter into this. I'm pulling back the curtain, Floyd, to let you know how I pray. Let Floyd Kennedy see you in such a way that he is fully committed to you in ways that go far beyond his imagination or even my desire. And that's for all of you. That's my prayer for you. Even as some of us sit in the wagon and drag our feet, but that's a shake it off. Old girl sang about that, right? Shake it off. Probably if you do the internet, probably somebody's preached on just that thing, shake it off. It's like, just, oh my God. Poison can't stop God's plan. My life can't stop God's plan. God's plan, God's will be fulfilled. It just will. Verse 7, we're almost done. There was, went too far. There was an estate nearby that belonged to Publius, the chief official of the island. He welcomed us to his home and showed us generous hospitality for 3 days. His father was sick in bed, suffering from fever and dysentery. Paul went to see him and, after prayer, placed his hands on him and healed him. Just even that sequence, that could preach. When this had happened, the rest of the sick on the island came and were cured. Paul ministers to Publius, father who is sick. He heals him. Word spreads, and folks are healed. Paul being misrepresented, taken captive. God said, you're going to be a witness for me in Rome. He goes on a ship. The Shipwrecks. They are all saved. And isn't it a coincidence that the governor of the island's father is sick? And a witness of God, an apostle of Jesus Christ, just happened to be on that ship. Just what a coincidence that is. Man, alive. It's funny how life just serendipity like that. And what am I saying? I'm saying at least a couple of things. One, the pain you experience becomes part of that segue, that avenue to God's glory and others' blessing. Other thing, kind of on the flip side of the same coin, is that you never know what God has in store for you and how you will be a blessing to others unless and until you go through what you have to go through. I know this does not square with a lot of stuff, and I don't suggest it, that you scrape off the internet in terms of ministry, because what passes for ministry oftentimes is how God wants you to be a millionaire and wants your kids to be totally protected and things, and everything's going to work out fine. And it's like, if you just think about it at a basic level, if we were in such a bubble, what kind of witness would, what you should have done is bought the God insurance, and the God insurance would have protected you from all of these things. Don't leave home without it. I get it. Our faith does not protect us from death or anything else that life brings about. We live in a fallen world. Folks get sick. Folks die. Who's sin? Is it him or is it his parents? Or maybe there's something they did or said. They brought it. There are times when that happens. But I'm convinced most of the time that things happen in our life if we would just be awake long enough. Things happen in our life so God can get some glory and your neighbor can see God through your situation. That's what this thing is. See, the early church when the plagues were ravaging the known world, around the Mediterranean, the plagues were ravaging. What happened? Those that, the normal folks, kind of like we did during COVID, they sheltered, they hunkered down, and they stayed clear of the plague. I'm not going, you look sick. I'm not going near you. That something might jump off on me and kill me. But what did the Christians do? Knowing full well that they were exposing themselves to potential death, and yes, many of them died, they leaned into the situation and ministered to the sick. People saw that as like, you're not like anybody else I know. I want to buy that cologne that you're wearing. Say, let me shut up. Trust and believe. This is hard, but pain opens up the doors for ministry. Pain opens up the doors for ministry. I have a nephew who lost his son. His son was 28. He died suddenly. And he's grieving. As I told him, I said, I don't know what you're feeling, but I've lived in that same zip code. Whereas he pulled away from everyone else that were offering pious and wonderful words and all of that stuff. He leaned in. It's like, Uncle Mark, I know you know. Yeah, let's talk. If God asked me, he didn't. I'd rather not experience that and be that vehicle if he were asking me. But he didn't. And I am so thankful to God that he has carried me through that situation so that I now can minister to him in a way I would never be able to minister to him before. What am I saying? I'm saying I'm done is one, but it's the last verse, so you know I'm done. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying run into the burning building, but if the building is burning and someone needs rescuing, you need to respond. That's what I'm saying. Don't run from situations that bring us pain. Gain an understanding of what we're supposed to glean from this situation. Don't just look at the pain in the situation as a potential badge of, oh, you know what? Someone was sharing, and she even admitted, yeah, actually I paid $200 to go through these, what are these? It's kind of like not a triathlon, but a marathon or some kind of thing where they sit there and they slap you with water weenies and throw mud on you and all of that. It's like, you paid $200 for that? As I say, you give me $5 and I'll hit you with a foam finger or something. It's like, I'm not saying, oh, well, look at all this stuff. Then that becomes all about you. How is God directing your path? What is he saying to you? Well, Pastor, I don't know. What is he saying? Have you asked? And if you've asked, are you listening? And even in the quiet, God is speaking in the quiet. I know this for a straight up fact. Even in the quiet, when you think God is not speaking, he's speaking. If not anything else, but just stand still and see the righteousness and the deliverance of God. So after months, they honored us in many ways, and we were ready to sail. They furnished us with the supplies and we needed. So after months on Malta, Paul are supplied with everything they needed for their journey home. An unexpected, unplanned place of shipwreck became a place of peace, restoration, healing for themselves and for others. So what looked like a detour actually was preparation for the next assignment. That's it. They say it's just a setback for a setup for a comeback. Stop. You never know where God is taking you. You never know. But what you do know is, if you don't know, let me just say this: God is faithful. God is faithful. When I am faithless, he remains faithful still. So how are we going to do? What are you going to respond? Do we see the situation, whatever our Malta situation is, do we see it for what it is? Man, this was unplanned. I didn't see this coming. That was one thing Sister Meeks shared during her journey, which journey of life. But she said, I didn't see this coming. That's typically, God doesn't ask us. You know, I'm getting ready to bring calamity in your life. I'm getting ready to disturb the little comfy pillow that you've got you fluffed up. And that's what Sister Meeks does. You know, she said, now that's because I love her, though. See, I'm trying to lean into her. And she said, your head's on my pillow. It's like you're messing up my pillow. I'm so glad God doesn't say that, you know. I can lean into his pillow, and he's like, come right on, son. Put your head on my bosom. Rest in me. 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 Malta became the place of restoration, healing, a platform for the witness of God. But it never, ever would have happened unless there was a shipwreck. It never would have happened. Okay, God, well, that's wonderful. Please don't bring a shipwreck in my life. I know. That's been my prayer, and it may be my prayer tomorrow. I'm just telling you now. I'm pointing you to the perfect, not to the mark, okay? I'm pointing you to the perfect, not to the mark. Trust and believe God is faithful. Let's stand, let's go home.